Chemical peels aren't seasonal, they're strategic. So why are we still doing them and scheduling them like it's 1995? Welcome back to Beauty Babble. I'm Suzanne, Sodesco accredited esthetician with decades of experience in skin health and wellness and professional training. I'm also a lifelong student of skin and wellness. And today, this is one of the topics where I see a real gap between traditional teaching and modern practice. Clients don't live in the seasons. Their skin is constantly changing based on the environment, their lifestyle, stress, and treatments that they're doing in the clinics or your treatment rooms or other treatment rooms. As we know, our clients sometimes bounce around to other professionals. When we rely on a blanket rule like peel season, we can unintentionally hold back results without even really realizing that we are. And worse, we can compromise the barrier. So, this isn't just about peels, it's about how we think as professionals and how we can plan treatments strategically. This is something that I've had many conversations with professionals, whether they're new or been in the season for a while. It's that strategy planning for treatments. And I really wanted to touch point about peel seasons and challenge our thoughts. So in this episode, we'll break it down where peel season actually came from, how skin physiology itself can change throughout the year, and how to confidently and safely incorporate chemical peels all year round without compromising, the skin barrier of your clients. Because once you understand this, your treatment planning and your results for your clients will change completely. So let's start with this idea. Where did peel season come from? Historically, peel season actually was linked to the sun exposure and the risk of UV damage. We know this, that's true. It's not that it's wrong or informed information. It is true and relevant. It made sense at the time. It also simplified training for, you think of the number of students that go through training in a year, and it keeps that risk reduction, so there's not going to be any issues. Basically, it's because students, new people in the industry, don't have enough experience with chemical peels, and this was an easier guideline. Now, some of you might think that that's not quite it, and that's okay if I'm up for the challenge, if you want to have a chat about it. But really, it simplified their training, it kept the risk down, and it was easy as guidelines for them when they left. But over time, it became something else, a rule rather than a guideline. And here's the problem. Peel season is more habit than science. Season alone should never dictate treatment timing. Now let's break down what that actually means, the skin itself. So when we think of the skin physiology in the winter, the barrier can be compromised. There tends to be more dryness in the skin that increases sensitivity because of that. So it's going to need that repairing first. So we always look at the skin itself. What are we visually seeing in the winter months? Each person is going to be different. You have some people who are exposed to the outside, so those colder, drier, the cold winds, the temperature changes, that type of thing. Whereas in the spring, that it's that transitional stage. So the skin, reactive skin, that risk from the winter coming into spring, and now we're going to peel in the spring. That's when we can overtreat the skin. The stress from the temperature changes as well. So again, looking at the skin, what do we typically see in the spring? How do we reincorporate and build into these? You can do peels. It just needs to be based on what you see with your clients. We'll dive more into this as we carry on. In the summer months, typically, not everyone, but typically we have oilier skin, a much higher UV exposure. So think of the strategic peels are possible. So the lighter peels, maybe not as often, that type of things, but incorporating in. There's a little more to it. Yes, you got to look at the lifestyle. We'll get into the clients as well. In the fall, tends to be that peel season again, as we call it. That's that repair and correction phase. So typically, I find a lot of people do deeper treatments then, the stronger, deeper penetrating kind of higher percentages, lower pH, longer times. So watching now with that, so you can look at the whole season and think, if we start from the summer, that light, gentle exfoliation spread out through time, protecting the skin from dehydration as well, because the skin tends to be a little oilier. Sometimes people are not realizing that they're actually a little bit dehydrated because the oil is at the surface, and of course the lipid barrier underneath becomes a little bit less. Now your normal combination oily clients tend to get a lot more oilier, just being exposed to the elements of summer, right? When you come to fall, then we want to prep that skin for that ideal deeper treatment if it's necessary based on the skin. It's based on the goals. What are we after here? Why are we choosing these deeper level peels? Maybe it's just a simple light peel. Maybe this client you can peel all year round, not frequently, but of course, if you're combining those treatments to be closer together for reparative, maybe it's because of scar tissue. Think of the acne scarring, pigmentation, can their skin, so also looking at the Fitzpatrick of the skin, where do they fall in this? And then consider what the environment is as well. So if we look at this, I want you to think, I know some of you are actually thinking, but what about the sun? Absolutely. You're not wrong. Definitely the sun. Let's look at how this plays out globally, though. So I'm targeting a few places around the world. I think we all know what their seasons look like. So let's talk about Australia. What are their 4 seasons? How much UV are they exposed to every day, all the time? So estheticians perform superficial peels year-round with very strong SPF protocols and the barrier prepping of the skin as well, and watching the skin, tight protocols that their clients are watching and listening, hopefully to them, but that's pretty much how estheticians look at it out there because of the sun, because of the lifestyle. If you go to Florida, South Florida, I know people there that are using glycolic and lactic peels, even commonly used during summer months, but they're always adjusting percentages, depths, how often in the protocols on that client's lifestyle and their UV exposure. So yes, the sun matters. If we go a little farther south of that, let's talk about Brazil. Now we're looking at this, that they do peels all year round, but they're taking in consideration strict protocols, adapting to skin type, adapting to the melanin, so the Fitzpatrick of the skin, and environmental exposure. If we head over to another part of the world, Mediterranean or Middle East, treatments are guided by their skin conditions, not the month of the year. Again, looking at the lifestyle, looking at what they're doing, who are their clients. So you really need to get a good background and understanding of who your client is. Takeaway? Well, seasons alone don't dictate treatments. It's all about assessing the skin, customizing the protocol, and protecting the barrier of the skin. So how are we going to incorporate peels year-round? So once you understand the skin doesn't actually operate on seasonal rules per se, the next question becomes, how do we safely peel year-round? So a little bit of repeating. I know some of you have lots of education, lots of practice on this, but let's take it back a notch and think back to the foundations of peels. Depth selection matters. Whether it's superficial, light peels versus the medium versus aggressive. So of course, if it's aggressive, let's think that medium peel to aggressive, you're dealing with scar tissue, then maybe that's not the best time to do aggressive in the summer based on your client's lifestyle and UV exposure. But that doesn't mean you can't continue the treatments with the superficial light so they still get progress all year round. Client selection is critical. It's okay to say no. If your client is not compliant to what you are telling them they need to do in order to have it done, whether it's in the treatment room and their home care, you have to consider their lifestyle and their sun exposure. And will they really follow you in your guidelines that you're telling them, the protocols? If they say, well, I golf a lot, I don't think I can do, I'm out every day, 6 to 8 hours a day, then maybe that's not the guideline you're going to follow for them, the protocols in place. If they do, I've said no to clients over the years. I said, listen, I'll negotiate with you on this. If you promise to wear a hat, and sometimes your UV protected hats would be a great suggestion for your clients, or those visors that are SPF, high SPF, and reapplication needs to be done based on their Fitzpatrick, but how often they'd be reapplying it is crucial as well. Again, home care is non-negotiable on this. It's SPF all the way. Really focus on that hydration and that barrier support as well. Peel should be part of a progressive treatment series, not a one-off service. Again, educate your clients on this. We get calls in for, last minute peels. They want a 50 glycolic because they heard it's really good. That's why consultations are important. This is a crucial time that you can explain to them what's best for them based on them. And I say it all the time, just because your friend did it, or your sister, your aunt, your mother, your cousin, whoever it may be, doesn't mean that your skin is ready for this. And I think that's really important, that you customize it uniquely to each individual person and stand strong on that and be confident in what you're telling them. You're not saying no to them. You're just explaining how and when you can do it as well. So when done correctly, peels can safely adapt all year round. It can be adapted all year. The results improve without compromising the skin barrier. Your clients will be happier in the long run, so that you can still work on their goals, their conditions, whatever the plan is with your clients. So this shifts everything. We move from that rigid seasonal rule to customized, client-specific treatment planning. It improves outcomes. It's going to increase the retention of your clients as well. And it elevates your role as a professional who actually understands skin and not just protocols. So sometimes it's hard for us to get out of the habits that we've created in ourselves, but sit down and break down. It's like a puzzle. I want you to think of your client's skin is a puzzle, and no one has the same puzzle. You're constantly working with them and figuring out what's the best course of action and protocols and their home care to get the results that they're looking for. So let's quickly highlight what to avoid. Avoid peels entirely based on the season. Again, that will prevent that over-treatment in the spring and fall, which we tend to see people reacting to things. Yes, that should be the safe time to do it, but you've missed half the year on a typical seasonal year, right? If it works that way, sometimes it doesn't. But if you're looking at it that way, you haven't done anything for how long on them, and now you're going to hit them with the high peel. So it's that prepping of the skin as well. So again, that over peeling during those transitional months, again, we call it peel season, you have to watch that. The other thing is ignoring the barrier of the skin. the repair. Every person's going to repair differently. Physiology, biology of themselves, the histology of the skin. Every person's going to be different, even if they're related, even if like they're siblings or cousins or twins for that matter. And the other thing that we want to avoid is not educating our clients properly. This is crucial because just because you told them one time, even the last treatment, maybe it was 4 6 weeks ago, you did it and you told them, you need to tell them every time. Make sure it's like just a touch point and say, hey, okay, so last time, remember what I said about this, and this, you got to avoid this, whatever protocols and guidelines you've given them. You want to educate your client properly every single time. Confidence comes from knowing not just what to do, but when and why to do it. If you want to see this in action, we go a little deeper in our free Watch and Learn series that we started this year. How to safely adapt chemical peels year-round while protecting the skin barrier and optimizing results. I'm going to put the link below so you can register there. It is free, by the way. So here's the real shift. The goal isn't to do more peels. It's to do them smarter. When you understand the skin, you're relying on sometimes outdated information. I want you to stop relying on the outdated rules and start making informed, confident decisions. And that's what creates better results. Stronger client trust and more sustainable career in this ever-changing industry. Thanks for joining me on Beauty Babble. I'm Suzanne, and I'll see you next time, the next episode.